cranberry, peach. It's not just for urinary tract infections. What's wrong with you? Not you, Roger. I know you know better.
That
But
reminds me. Let me go get my drink. Be right back.
yeah, go for it. Until then, I'll play the hardest song ever that you can try to play. Trust me, it's hard. Yeah, there we go. There we go. There we go. Oh, that's off that. I think I solved that.
Now you're like full screen.
Yeah, I solved that problem, right? At least. Okay, I'm gonna share. Let me make sure I don't have anything on here that said doesn't need to be seen. Uh,
I need to find my blue belt. I got the kids' belts up here. Actually, Sophie and Noah, they fixed up my whole area, so it's kind of all decked out now.
oh
So
yeah, nice.
I got hats, and that's like the rest of the workout room. And then I have just belts and our picture with Grandmaster Helson up
I'm in
there.
there. Yeah, I'm one of those
One of those
dudes.
fellas.
That's cool. Normally, there's two ways in like the shadow boxes. The way that they do it is that they'll kind of like stretch the belts out and have it kind of like slightly, maybe a foot or two of belt, and then kind of wrap it so that it's just a line, and then they'll have the line going up from white to blue to brown, like in a shadow box going up like that. People do that one, and then they do the one where your when you get promoted, your person ties your previous belt in a little loop thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody says don't undo the loop. Or maybe we do, I don't remember. If it is though, it's hey, if you undo the loop, it's no big deal. But I'm looping this because this belt is done. That kind of deal. Well, they'll
Yeah.
just keep it like that and then put it in the shadow box.
I'm
But
gonna zip tie mine.
I like the way it looks right now. I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, this one is Noah's. This one is Allie's. And I gotta find my white belt and my blue belt, and I'm gonna put it on the wall as well.
When they train with the gi, do they just take the belt off the wall?
Yeah,
Cool, cool,
and you
cool.
just mount it back on. So, because Allie, she's gonna come for the whole summer, so I think she'll earn a stripe or two.
What you don't know what you did with your belt, huh?
No, it's definitely in storage. I just have to dig through the storage.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah, of
in
course.
it's in this house. But you kind of put a couple things away and you put it into a box and then it gets stacked.
Of course.
But but yeah, man, I just got off the phone with my brother. We got a big fence job next week. I still do have training, so I'm still gonna try to. It's funny, I'm so drained from being in the sun that when I do go train, like everybody's kicking my ass.
Well,
But
I
it's
mean,
good. It's a good thing.
yeah, that's that's why we okay. You can see my screen, right?
Mhm.
Okay. What I was gonna say is that's why we do it the way that we do it, so that when that experience happens, it's like, yeah, I got smoked up bad today, and definitely didn't win. I lost against everybody, but nobody really beat me. I mean, they might have got you, but they had to fight like crazy, and you didn't really use much strength or energy because you didn't have it. You were tired. So it's like it's a thing that it's like the when you pull a parachute and it won't work, and then you pull the second parachute, and it's like that's the ones that's meant to save your life. If that one didn't work, well, what we're talking about here is like what is there it's like a giant trampoline on the ground. You know what I mean? It's like case, last ditch effort is just use the fact that we can operate pretty much the same, just not aggressively without energy. You know what I mean? Which
Mhm.
is that's if you don't practice for that, you won't be able to do it. Believe you me. People tap from being tired.
Yeah. I mean,
So
I asked my training partner for a break when we had a minute left.
did
But
you
that was
really?
it was funny. Yeah, no, because we did two rounds back to back, and I was using this new style that I'm trying to do where it's more proactive,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Of course.
I'm
Of
doing a
course.
lot of wrestling, and I'm doing a lot of these modern guards. So
Yep.
I've been doing a lot of Z guard. So this half guard with knee shield, off
Hmm.
balancing game to get into leg entries, and I'm finding myself in a lot of leg entries. But after working all day on a fence, and then going to class, and then getting 2 rounds with the big guy, I was just like, oh, dude, I'm tapped.
And that's for anybody that might be listening that doesn't comprehend what the deal is here. Here's the deal: is that what you just said makes all the sense in the world, and it explains exactly why it happened. Because some people might, if they've listened to every episode, might say, "Oh, what's the deal? What's the deal, Roger? What's the deal, Jiu Jitsu Robot? I thought you're supposed to be able to roll and roll and roll and roll and never get tired." But here's the deal: contextually doing the things that you were doing, you then went to class and use techniques that weren't just survival based. You were still trying to push it. You were trying to go to make things happen and to use techniques to basically to level up. To that's what this is what we talked about. What's needed. One of the things to make these jumps is to be able to flex your will on the other person more acutely.
Exactly.
And what the heck
And you told
uh,
me a little bit of this to do because you said the next thing you need to work on is physical fitness, athleticism, things like that. You're like, this is going to be the next journey of your jiu-jitsu journey is to get in shape. And so I'm we're not in the same city, and so I'm working with these kind of new age guys doing stuff that requires a lot of endurance. So when I get to the point where I'm able to do these modern techniques, and I still have my old school techniques, the tried and true stuff. If I get into deep waters, I still got it. But I'm going to try these new modern techniques, and I'm going to try to build up my endurance so I can do, let's just say, 8 rounds at a pretty fast pace. And mind you, when I was when I exhausted myself, I probably had caught my training partner, you know, 3 4 times in that ten
yeah,
minutes, maybe five. So I'm going through those motions, and I'm really going for it, and I'm building up my endurance so that whenever, because I do want to compete in a sports setting, and I do want to compete in MMA. So whenever my endurance builds up where I can do like an hour at a really good clip, um, that's when I know I'm ready to compete.
that's right. Yeah, because doing something for an hour, man, that's much different from just surviving for an hour because you can use nothing. Like you can literally, I mean, quite literally, you can roll for half an hour. And if you're doing it wisely, and we definitely know how, at the end of that 30 minutes, you will legitimately not be tired. You won't have used much energy at all.
Well, you're not
But
panicking, right? You're not panicking. You're being intentional, but you're not being wasteful. It's still efficient, but it's more active rather than. Um, it's like the number one goal could be conserving energy, or the number one goal could be um, kind of imposing your will, but
yeah,
also secondary conserving energy. So it's kind of moved from number one to number two in the
that's
thinking.
right. That's right. And it's not. It would never move to number two if we were gonna fight somebody bigger than us in a real fight. It
Yep.
would. We would never ever try to just run through them. It wouldn't be how quickly we wanted to. We wouldn't want to find out how quickly we could tap them or beat them. We would want to see. We wouldn't want to see anything. We would just want to make the fight about attrition and to make it about us remaining as safe as possible and not being hurt. And somewhere along that line, along that timeline, they're going to exhaust, and you will be able to use a little bit more aggressive energy. That might be 10 seconds into the deal, so you just run through them like nothing. But the
Hmm.
first thing that we're going to do is make sure not to get hurt. And once that's a for sure thing, then we'll go on to the next thing.
This
But
is
well,
strictly for sportive reasons.
yeah,
And we're still not going
exactly.
to do anything crazy. Like, we're not going to be in the guard and our opponent's going to lift us off the ground.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
that's just, there's no way. Like, there's no way I'm ever getting slammed on my head for any reason. Like, there's some
no,
things that are
no.
just no nos.
Yeah, I would never allow somebody to pick me up. I would never allow somebody to have a free neck hug.
Nope.
Like even when we're doing give them the technique kind of thing, I don't really. let people just grab onto my neck. That's one thing that I'm going to protect, even against, white, blue, brown, black, beginners, no people that don't know anything, people that do, because it doesn't matter how good you are, your neck could still get hurt by even children, which mine did, right? And it stunk. It
Yeah.
hurt for like a while. So you don't no free neck hugs and the basic stuff. Don't let yourself get picked up off the ground. Don't let anybody start reaching for your face and not do anything about it. If they're being playful, I'm still going to play back. If we're rolling and they start reaching for my face, I'm not just going to just discount my face. I'm going to say, okay, now we're playing this game. So I'm gonna still modify depending. I'm just saying I'm gonna modify depending on the context. But what we're saying to people is between purple or maybe deep blue and brown for sure. There has to be a point where you go through this period of attack, 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 just blasting everybody that you roll with and not hurting them, just tapping them, using the technique to go from A to B to C, and then you finish the deal. Sometimes that's gonna tire you out because that's what it does. I mean, when we're doing things, it takes energy. When we're preventing things, it doesn't necessarily take energy, or if it does, it's very little. So to do your will on somebody, it requires you to break through their defense, to grab a hold of whatever the submission is that you're doing, to prevent them from escaping, and then to finish it anyway, no matter what they thought. Like, I'm not going to let you take me down. I'm not going to let you get the submission. I'm definitely not going to let you finish it. So you got to go, you got to beat through all that stuff and then still tap them. And that sometimes takes energy. Well, it's just something that you have to do to get to the point where you're capable of rolling aggressively and to win with the same efficiency and energy uh, efficiency as well. I mean, to roll technically efficiently with energy efficiency, just like you do when you roll just to survive. They should be, equally yoked, I guess, as it were. But it's not as easy as just surviving and not using any energy because you got to figure out how to deal with the person's resistance and not use strength and still make it, to the next step. So it's new. There are new problems to deal with and new ways of rolling in a way. You're doing things that you normally wouldn't. You are intentionally using energy because that's that's the step that you're on. You know what you're doing and you're trying to get to the next, to level up.
Yep.
So
Empty the
that's
tank.
where, yeah, but that's where you're at. That's not, if somebody's a white belt or a blue belt that's listening, they should not be doing that at all. They should be rolling to survive. If they're rolling to empty the tank, especially if the person has a higher belt than them, uh, so I'm talking about aggressively, they shouldn't be doing that anyway. They're going to get beaten. They're going to get beat bad, and they're going to use all of their energy. They won't be able to do the technique or see it. What they need to do is to go slow, just observe what is happening. And I mean, how about this? Just watch that video by the Great Gracie University, How to Survive the First 6 Months of Rolling, because that'll say it better than I would, and it says it explains it in detail. So that's a man that required going off on a tangent, but it's important. I felt to make a distinction between why these guys who are really specifically jujitsu people who pride themselves on being able to roll and stay in the fight for a long time. And why that is that these guys are getting tired. Well, it's because we're trying to level up, and that's what's required at this step for this person at this time in their journey. Talking about Roger, and
Yeah,
not
this is my
anybody
ninth
else.
year. You know, I've been doing this for
Yeah.
9 years. So we worked on something different in year one. We worked on something different in year five, and so on and so forth. And right now we're I'm gearing up to do like a run at some tournaments, and I have goals to do Naga expert and face some ground belts. So get some local tournaments out of the way, shake the rust off, and then go for like a Naga expert division.
And I support it, super support it, of course, which people might also not understand if they think we're jujitsu. We're only self defense guys, which they'd be wrong about that too. But
We're pretty
anywho,
modern. We are pretty modern, because
yeah,
you train with a modern guy that embraces modern techniques, and we've always like dabbled in a little bit of everything, but our bread and butter is self defense. So that's what we teach everybody, and then we can add a little flavor to our game as we like, I guess you will. So there's nothing off the table.
no, nothing. Literally, absolutely nothing. If somebody brought me something, and I don't care what the baggage or history they bring with it is, if they said, "Hey, I got dim mock," the death touch, which is absolute crap. It's the traditional martial art version. Well, the traditional martial art that is associated with complete, you know, what is the word?
Fraud.
Fraud. Like yeah, these guys are just full of crap. Those guys, because there are real guys like Lyoto Machida and his family, and their karate. He will kick your head. I mean, he will kick you straight in the head and then take you down. And like so there is
Yeah, has
traditional
heat to
martial
it.
art. Yeah. Oh yeah. Heck yeah. Many people. He smoked a lot of people. But there's traditional martial art that is legit, but I'm talking about one that is not, that uses the death touch. But if somebody brought me that, and then they were just calling it that, but they showed me a technique that used natural body movements, energy efficiency, street applicability, and we could instantly implement it into our game. If it was better than something that I was doing that was similar, I would do that. I would add that, and I would remove the other one. And it wouldn't matter if I thought it was like, this is what has been taught for 50 years, that this is what it should be. No, if there's something better, we're going to use that. We're going to add it to it. And then that's just going to be part of our system. It doesn't have to be exact replicas of what came before you. If it's an exact replica of what came before you and you're not that person, then you're going to fail, because Scott Phillips is, his jujitsu is for, I mean, it is energy efficient, and it's energy efficient and all of the stuff it should be, but it is also aggressive, um, um, big guy, strong guy, guy with a lot of energy that's decently tall. He's like average height, 5'11", maybe 6 foot,
So a little
and
little higher than average. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But he's also a retired SEAL, and that makes his core ability like not even just something that I'm not about, but there's going to be nobody else that trains with us that has his makeup. Only him.
It's like his mentality is elite strength of will.
Yeah, exactly. It is elite, and that's something that he does pass along. but he can't help but also pass along some things that he likes to do that he's added to his arsenal. That if you do exactly like him, it'll fail because you're doing it like, his body type, his mindset, his everything. It's the principle of the thing that you need to be paying attention to. Then you modify it and you add it to your game. It's not weird or disrespectful, or it's none of that. You literally just learned the technique from them. You implemented it in your own body type and jujitsu ability, the way that you do jujitsu, and then, ran it through the programming and spit it back out into the ether. And now it looks slightly different. So it's not going to just be a replica of a replica of a replica. Everybody has a slightly different jujitsu system. And if you're not implementing new things or seeing anything that you think is valuable, then you got the wrong mindset. You're not actually looking. Maybe you're one of the people that's just like totally um it's just like, like it's the way Elio and Carlos Gracie wanted it, and that's the way that it is. We're going to do it how they did it. We're not going to change anything. That period. We're going to do what they did and nothing else. I don't think that Elio nor Carlos would want that to happen. I think that they would want you to learn the technique that they taught and then to modify the technique to use it to the maximum ability that you have. That's Elio Gracie Jiu Jitsu. So um, that's what that means. That's why there's going to be a slightly different flavor between generations of in within the same lineage, and everybody's going to be doing the same thing, just slightly different. Now, question for you, Roger. You watched the video that we're about to watch the other day. I sent it to you, and for the people they're about to see, a young girl rolling with a grown woman. What did you think when you saw the video the first time? Roger, did you see anything? Did you pick it up? What was wrong or what?
Well, it seemed like it was like a situation where they combined um, brackets. We're looking at like somebody maybe in the adult or master one age bracket, getting put in with a teenager who maybe is competing as an adult, and there was kind of discrepancy. There's a wide range of blue belt abilities, and if you have somebody
Yeah.
who's been training for like 10 years and they're blue belt, and I've seen it, they're going to
Yeah.
be really good, as opposed to like a 30-year-old, maybe mother who is, she looked like she was fairly athletic, but not anything crazy. So, you have like maybe less experience, maybe only 2-3 years versus 10 years, versus, it looks like she was using a pretty modern guard too, the younger
Hmm.
gal. So
Yeah.
versus maybe maybe a hobbyist. So you have maybe a very competitive blue belt teenager versus a hobbyist blue belt who's older, and maybe she was still competitive, but she got a little bit bent out of shape. Um, Maybe she thought she was better than she actually was, or but unfortunately she displayed like some unsportsmanlike conduct, and somebody. I'm sure somebody has talked to her. I mean, it seems like it's a popular clip. I'm sure somebody had said like, "Hey," and she probably was. I'm hoping she's regretful for losing her composure. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't. We don't know this woman, but I hope that she reflects. And it's just a tournament, and she just went up against an opponent that was better than her. It happens to all of us.
Yeah, you're showing a much kinder heart. about it than I am. Whenever I watched it, my first thought was that this is really the first thing that I've come across that I would remove somebody's rank for, and not like take it down a notch. That I would just take the belt away, because here's why. If you watch the video, the first thing that happened is that the younger girl, she's 16, she's a blue belt, so she's at least 16. And the other lady is clearly older than her. She's probably maybe early 30s, we could say, right? Be nice. Maybe slightly older than
I'll
that.
go 30s. I'll go 30s.
She's in there. But she looked very serious, way too invested. And the younger girl didn't look so invested. She just looked like she was ready to roll.
There's another tournament.
Yeah, that's what it looked like, and that's why she did so well. But another reason is that she is clearly better than the older lady. The other lady, she's clearly superior as far as the technique goes. I would say that the way she was rolling, just from the short clips that we were able to see there, it looked like maybe she is rolling around the quality of a 3 or 4 stripe blue belt. That's what I would say. I don't know. I don't know if she rolls better or worse than that, or what the case is, but she looked good technique.
Let me take a quick break. I'm going to let my dogs in.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then we'll roll the clip.
Mm-hmm. Hey, let's try this again. All right.
Before it gets past my bedtime, let's roll that clip.
Let's do it. Okay. So it's just a short clip, just to set it up for folks watching. Just a short clip if they're not familiar, and it'll explain what's going on. And let's see if the people see what we see. We'll play it and let's see. Okay. Do I need to turn my phone?
No, it looks good.
Okay, here we go.
At a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu tournament, a truly shocking and unacceptable incident occurred. One that has since gone viral across the combat sports community. A visibly unstable adult woman physically assaulted a much younger girl, shoving her directly in the face. What made this even more outrageous was the age difference. The young girl, named Sasha, was likely...
Just for the record there, we'll watch it again, but she was saying, when I tap, let go. BS.
No older than 15, while her opponent was clearly an adult. But as unbelievable as that moment was, the full story behind it is even more intense. Sasha, a talented young grappler, had been dominating her matches in her age group. Her technique, timing, and calm demeanor stood out immediately. After winning against her peers, she moved on to compete in an open division where she would face older and more experienced fighters. That's where she encountered the woman who would later cause the controversy. In their first bout, Sasha controlled the match with poise. Eventually, she locked in a clean armbar submission, forcing the woman to tap out. But instead of accepting the loss, the woman erupted into a tantrum, yelling, flailing, and even accusing Sasha of injuring her on purpose. Sasha, despite doing everything right, felt pressured to apologize. They separated, and most thought the matter was over. However, due to the format of the competition or a rematch setup, they were once again paired together. This time, the woman came back to the mat clearly fuming, her anger unchecked. At the start of the bout, in a moment that stunned the entire room, she aggressively shoved Sasha in the face. For a split second, Sasha was frozen in shock. But then, something remarkable happened. Instead of breaking down or retaliating emotionally, Sasha composed herself. In a few moments, she set up a beautiful triangle choke and forced the woman to tap again, this time even more decisively. But the tantrums didn't stop. After the match, the woman began complaining that Sasha had held the choke too too long, adding yet another baseless accusation to her list. Through it all, Sasha remained the picture of discipline and sportsmanship. She demonstrated what martial arts are truly about.
Okay.
That is
So,
my favorite. When she started punching her,
yeah.
let her go. Being stupid. Like, hey,
Yes.
you caught me. Good job. Well done.
Hang on. How do I stop sharing just for a second? Were you still able to see me when I was sharing?
No.
Okay.
It was just
Anyway,
like a little picture, the little picture of you and your gi.
oh
It
yeah,
was like a
yeah.
tiny little circle on the screen. It's like this
Dang.
much in the screen.
Oh, this
Right in the
big
center.
for anybody watching? Yeah, that big. I'll see you. I'll see
This
you.
big.
It's kind of like what is, I don't know how to do that one, but it's the one. It's like
Exactly. Exactly.
There's one. It's terrible. Here's the deal. The woman being aggressive isn't necessarily something that is going to get her belt taken. Not from me, certainly. Not hardly anything in the world will. But some things will. Some things will, and I'll tell you why that I think it's such a big deal. And there's a few reasons. The woman is competing in this division, so they don't say she's a blue belt. It could be that she's just won several matches because she moved into this division, and that's the way that I took it. So I don't know if she is or if she isn't, but the reason I preference it that way is to say if she's a white belt, then first of all she was doing okay, and that makes me think she's not a white belt. She looked like she had rolled before, but not technically. She didn't look very technical at all. The problem is that if she is a blue belt in under anybody, and she is able to claim I'm a jiu-jitsu blue belt, and she gets the adoration and respect of the people around her, and people see her and they identify jiu-jitsu with her, and she also acts like that in the gym or around people. I don't know that, but chances are if she acts like that on the mat, that's her real personality coming out. And if that's so, her belt has nothing to do with my belt, has nothing to do with your belt and nobody's belt. But in reality, the way that the jiu-jitsu culture, the mindset works, the way that Elio thought of it too, is that every belt that we wear in jiu-jitsu is not our belt. It's the belt of jiu-jitsu. It's the legitimacy belt of jiu-jitsu. The belt that Elio wore, he received from his brother. But that wasn't his belt. The belt that his brother wore, he received from Konjikoma. But that wasn't his belt. The belt that Konjikoma received, he wore, that wasn't his belt. The belt that I wear isn't my belt. The one that you wear isn't your belt. We're wearing jiu-jitsu's belt. And when we are respected amongst our peers, then it's the way to think about that is rightly so. You're respecting jiu-jitsu, and jiu-jitsu is a respectable freaking thing. It's the most respectable thing. So I thank them for being respectful, because they're being respectful to me, not knowing that they're being respectful to the ones that came before me that we care so much about. So it's like they're showing them respect. And when somebody like this is wearing, if she is a blue belt or a colored belt, and then acting like that, especially doing what I would describe as trying to bully that kid, then I have a huge problem with that. She's getting all that, all the benefits, respect, and all the good stuff that comes with having a belt in jiu-jitsu. And it's good, right? You were saying one time that it's like it's really in nothing else in people's lives. I mean, maybe some other people have some other stuff like this, but it's a sensation where you walk into a building and people look at you, treat you, interact with you like you are superhuman or something, like you're it. And we don't want to be like, trust me, I'm not it. I'm not nothing. But them being respectful, it's justified. You know what I mean? It's because we're
Yeah.
trying our best. We're trying to be respectful, to help people, to if I have a choice between making somebody else better and making me better that day, I'm gonna pick them every time. Like every single time. I'm
Yeah, you
never
always try
going
that.
always, every single time. I've went to class before and thought like tonight I'm gonna do this, 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 and I'm really gonna like I've made it. I've just pounded it in my mind. This is what I'm gonna do tonight. I don't care if I get tapped 10 times. I'm gonna do this, this, and this, and then we'll do the first technique. I'll be the partner usually, and then he'll say, "Hey, okay, Joey, if you would go help this new guy that just started tonight, and I'll be with him like the whole time
Hmm.
for an hour, hour and a half." And but at that moment, I I don't just like say like, okay, I'm not gonna care about that at all. If I do this for a while and he lets me, I'm gonna go do what I prepared to do. But if this is what I'm supposed to do, and there's an opportunity to help this new person, then that's gonna be my goal 100%. And I'm going to be just as happy to do that as anything else that I was preparing to do. Because if that's what your instructor wants you to do, then chances are it's the right thing, right? I don't know that it's 100% right every time. I'm talking about what I say, but I wouldn't tell anybody if I'm really, if this is a jujitsu context and I'm interacting with somebody or telling them or teaching them or something about jujitsu, I'm really giving them 100% and being as honest as I can. And like, I'm not leaving anything off the table or leaving any holes in their game, like their technique where the person could exploit it or inputting, bad details so that it'll fail sometimes against certain people, and sometimes I'm giving them everything I can to make them better. This is the expectation of the belt system. And you heard Scott say it, you heard Jerry say it. Those are two completely different instructors, but they're preaching the same message, and the same message that we preach and the same message that Elio preached, which is to help people and build them and make them better and act a certain way is, in my opinion, the most important thing, more important than technique.
Well,
Um,
hopefully this lady gets the message, right? And hopefully somebody from her gym has talked to her coach has talked to her, and
well,
she acts that way in the future.
right. That's sorry. That's where I was getting to. That's the thing, is
Yeah.
that we just want to make sure. I want to make sure if they haven't, that people know that this is the type of thing that gets people greenlit. If they've seen our previous episodes, acting aggressively and rolling in a way with people that are smaller than you that could get them hurt, or being representing jujitsu in a way that brings shame to your instructor. That's what this is. She hit the girl twice in the ribs.
Mm-hmm.
She
Push her in the face, like
she
right in the eyes. Ah.
pushed her in the face, and then she complained that it was her fault. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what set me off the whole thing. 'Cause
Yeah,
I'm
she's
like,
delusional.
yeah. And I literally read her lips at one point saying that when I tap, you let go. Well, the just last, one of the last things we're going to say here. The problem is the lady in the first example, she was defending the arm lock. The girl had stretched her arm to this point. That's it. The arm lock is done.
Yeah.
If you go, especially if you stand up. She was in a triangle. So that this is what happened. It was the classic thing. She was caught in the triangle. She wanted to stand up and slip her head out or slip her arm out, that defense. But the girl put her leg over her head and went into the arm lock. So the arm was already there.
Yeah, it was
And
done.
that's done.
It was breakable.
Yeah, in either direction are you going. But the lady grabbed her hand like this and she started to pull. That's the trouble right there, is that she's still defending. The girl doesn't need to stop. When she let go, she started going on the arm lock, which immediately hurt, and she took it personal. She should have, if she was going to grab her hand, she should have screamed, I tap. Like tap, 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 tap. She could have tapped with her foot. She didn't want to be embarrassed, though, was the
Mm-hmm.
problem.
It's embarrassing.
That's why she,
That's why
to
she's mad.
her, yeah. But she
Yeah, yeah.
shouldn't be embarrassed.
If you get
That's
caught, you get caught. Though, yeah, we're not embarrassed when we get caught.
No, and like I said, the person that beat me that time, so just from top to bottom, was so and so's daughter, and she was like 13, and she
She's really
beat
good.
me, beat the brakes off me. So that
Happens to
girl,
everybody.
if she beat me, I wouldn't take it personal. I would be like, dang, jujitsu did what it's supposed to do,
Like that's a
and that's
really
the
good
end
blue
of it.
belt.
So that's the message, is that don't be disrespectful. It doesn't matter if it's sport, street, whatever jujitsu class you're in, please, if you're wearing a belt, take it ultra seriously. It took you a long time to get the belt. If you're at a school that does it right, and it's like 99% of schools, at least it's going to take you at least 6 months, if not way more. You're gonna be fighting to
But
get
don't
that
take your
belt.
losses seriously. Like you either win or you learn.
Yes, because you're gonna win. You're gonna learn way more than you're gonna win from white to getting up into deep blue. That's gonna be when you start to kind of smash people. But like we started this video off with, that's when you kind of can start turning the burners up a little bit. But if you turn the burners up and somebody else turns the burners up and their fire is hotter, then you're gonna burn. You're gonna get burned, and that's it. So be respectful when you lose. When you lose or learn. Be respectful when you win. If you're going to go to sport tournaments, realize that you are representing jujitsu, the whole thing, the history of the art, the freaking history of people that came before you and did their best, and that's why you have that respect. Realize that, and react and act with people in a way that you keep that on your mind. You're representing, so uh, take it seriously, because we do. If I was there, I would have had a talk with the ladies coach that day, because I take that super seriously, super seriously. We can't have that, period, ever. So um, really the main message here is, it doesn't matter if you win or lose. You want to win. You want to do your best and win gold every time. But no matter what, even if somebody violates a rule and does something that breaks the rules. I don't know what, but they do something that they shouldn't do. I don't know, Roger. The rules aren't fresh on my mind. They just
It's been a while since you did a tournament, so
yes, it is. It is. Or even coached at a tournament. It's been like,
shoot,
dang,
five
man.
years.
Maybe the last one that I was at for you. Dang, that's been a while.
Well, hey, the
But
audio
either way,
sounds great, by the way.
good. I
I
hope
think
that
this was a good
people,
episode.
I think so, and I hope that people enjoy it. I hope that people get something out of it and hear it better than they normally would because I did get some new equipment. So I'm hoping that it does in post also sound as good as it does now.
Maybe when
Um,
Oleg is listening, he can give you like a review on your new equipment.
if
Your
he
equipment
if
is ass.
I'll tell you what, Oleg, if you are listening, we received a message from this guy that wanted to send a message to you, and we can facilitate that because he was saying how you were a female. I don't know about the whole thing or why he thinks this, but he told us he knew that you had been pregnant at one point and had a child. I'm talking about Oleg Tektarov. This person said that. I don't know where he got that information or why he thinks that or what the deal is. This is just what somebody told us.
Pretty
But
wild.
he claims he has evidence that he worked there at the time and that Oleg was in fact a female with uh, large breasts. Anyway, the the moral of this story is if Oleg is watching or not, for anybody that's watching that does jujitsu, please do yourself a favor. That will only help you in the future in your journey in your jujitsu journey. I promise it'll go better than it would if you did otherwise. You will come out on the other end more unscathed, happier, healthier. You will have more senseis than smashers. You will have more friends than not. The instructors will like you better. You'll have a reputation that kind of spreads, and people will kind of know who you are. And what they'll think of you will be what they should think of you is that you know what you're talking about, and you're a good person to train with, and a good person to learn from. And that's you're good at jujitsu and you're a good person. That's all that you need to do. You need to represent jujitsu like you care about it. And if you can't or if you refuse, then please go do something else. Just leave us to it. We got it.